I'm going to ask you about your backstory, right? But actually, let's skip to that. Why are you dieting at the moment?
Just because I wanted a new challenge. I feel like I've been in this platoon effect. With anything, business, physique, I always need to be getting better.
Yeah.
And I just felt like content were drying up, everyone had seen me in that shape, and I thought, right, let's push it for a competition prep, but not compete.
Okay.
And without that competition there, I was almost like, so I'm pulling the plug on it this week. I'm leaning off, I'm happy.
Okay.
I'm finding mentally I'm struggling with workload now because I'm thinking about food. So I always prioritise business. So I'll pull things back, increase food now, reduce expenditure, but still keep the cardio in.
Yeah, I think that's interesting because Lee and I were talking on the way up about like I want to do a competition next year, which I told you about. But my priority is business, my clients, and my kids.
Yeah.
Obviously, you see, I've got 2 boys. If at any point in prep I get to the point where I'm short with them, or I'm not being the father I want to be, or work is suffering, I don't do direct client work, so I think that's a benefit.
That is massive.
I'm not responsible for like remembering deadlines and things like that, but if it's mainly around my kids, if that suffered, I would just pull the plug. So I don't want it to be like I'm going to compete no matter what. I'm not. It's about balance for me.
Yeah, that's why I moved away from it, because I found that I was waking up in the morning and check-ins, I was looking at them like a number rather than a person. I was like, right, I've got 15, let's get through these in 2 hours, and I was like, hang on. I took a step back and thought, quality of service, these guys are investing in me in my business. Pulled the plug on competing, and since then business has grown because I found that I was better to them and just a better person to be around, better relationships. So.
Yeah, which is like, okay, before we get into it, I already know this, so we would normally skip over it, but just give me a bit of background. I'll give up my audience, which is just starting out, a bit of background. Who are you, for those of you that don't know who you are? And how did you get into the health and fitness industry?
So, my name's Bray, I'm 27, I'm an online coach now, and how I got into the fitness industry was I was originally a footballer, experienced an injury, and I came from a background of always being competitive, so that was football. I needed to transition that due to the injury into something else, which was business, so I focused on education and perfecting my craft in terms of performance nutrition really. How can I help people transform their physique? How can I get them to perform better from a sport, which did transition into bodybuilding for myself, and I took people on my journey. And as a byproduct of that, really, I gained an audience on social media, which was primarily Instagram. Whilst I did that, I was continuing to develop my knowledge further, and as a byproduct of that, kind of gained a clientele for a business that I launched, which was Team BFit, which is what you know it as, but it's Bray Coaching. We rebranded, and then since then we've seen exponential growth, and since then I've kind of created this name and figure for myself in the industry now.
But you had a good job, right? You had a good corporate job, and you had a really good standard of education. So do you feel like that sets you apart in your approach from maybe not putting other fitness coaches down, but you just have a different approach to things?
I think I've always had a business mindset. One, because that's my bit. I've got a degree in business, third class honours, and I was a project manager where I was responsible for delivering projects of like multi-million pounds, presenting to CEOs, directors, and I think that it does separate me a little bit in terms of how I manage my business, how I manage myself with people, because I was always built and brought into businesses to build good relationships and deliver on expectations. And that's why I think the quality of service I provide from a coaching standpoint is so good, in how I potentially structure and manage content.
Yeah, because we've spoken in the past about coaches who maybe get to capacity and the level of service with their clients drops off. Whereas I think with Bray Coaching, formerly known as Team BFit, which I still love that name, by the way. It's a cool name. Yeah. It never drops off. It's like GrowFactor. You hire people to work with you that are as good as you or better. Your job then is create the vision, create the strategy, and to lead and manage your team, right? And slowly transition away from doing the client work. And so long as you're setting the vision and making sure that all of your team know that and how you expect them to execute, and you're actually, which I know you do, you look at your other coaches that come on board and you look at the results of their clients. You're not just saying, okay, you have these clients and off you go. You have processes in place to make sure that they're getting great results. Right, so you know, as we scale, it's kind of like this. If you scale a business, a service business, I always talk about this at GrowFactor, like an accounting firm, you get sold by the partner, must be like where you used to work, probably, and the junior down here, 7 levels down, will be doing the work. Whereas what you're doing at Bray Coaching, you're maybe talking to the client initially, maybe, I'm not sure if you still do sales calls.
Now and again I do some sales calls, but I've since then brought people on like Ben Holtz to bring them on and improve my coaches' sales, giving them structure, but also making sure that they've got content strategies, marketing strategies, their education and knowledge is to a good standard, because the interview process was vigorous like a role. And then before any results go out on any social media, it goes through me, and it's like, right, okay, this is going to represent the brand, it needs to represent the high quality results that I've showcased for the last 24 months. Along with that, like you probably do, weekly team calls with them, how are you getting on, what calls they've got in the pipeline this week, CRM systems, all of that is in place.
Yeah, so you provide them with support, and I imagine if you've got like 100 clients, we weren't going to talk about this, but data is like interesting for me. If you've got 100 clients and all of their results and their goals are going into a system, you can check at any time if your coaches are performing well compared to each other, compared to your standards, compared to you, and make sure like, oh, if this person needs a little bit of help over here, you can give it to them.
Yeah, no, exactly, that's right. Data drives decisions, doesn't it? That's
100%. Yeah, that's why I always say, well, not everyone loves accounting, I love accounting, right? But if you look at the numbers and you create financial goals to get from here to here, which I know that you have, right? You just measure your progress along the way. And if you're not if it's not working, it's kind of like training. People set these goals to reduce body fat or gain muscle or get fitter, or like you're running, we'll talk about that, set new times, and they measure their progress, but they don't necessarily always apply that to their business. Right? Talking about that, what are your goals now? Because I know that you asked on your story the other day for recommendations of running trainers. So do you want to tell us about that?
So I've come from a bodybuilding background. I've competed at high amateur standards. I've took a step back from that, as I've just discussed with the business. And I'm always a person who wants to be doing more. And I feel like with bodybuilding, I've hit that wall now. I don't want to compete anymore. I've done that. I don't want to get any bigger. So in terms of if I was to compete, I'm not going to just do it to make numbers up. So I'm gonna go into the hybrid category now, where I still bodybuild to a really high standard, but I'm able to eat more food and expend more and improve my cardiovascular fitness, which I've absolutely neglected for the last 6-7 years, which you do with bodybuilding.
Well, the bodybuilding, you still get your heart rate up, so to a certain extent it's like maintenance, but you're not thriving. Right?
No, exactly. And I've been doing that now for 3 to 4 weeks. So I was running, now I've invested in running shoes, I'm getting all the equipment, and I'm improving quite quickly, and it's a little bit addictive now, like when you go to a gym and you eat that first pre-workout meal and you get stronger, the second time you go you get stronger. I'm getting that with running now.
You're getting faster and faster. So you're using Strava and comparing yourself against others. It's so good that you can go around a little route and you can actually like chase a local person from your name.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm using, but then we've got a content strategy now. So we're going to do, I've got the name of the series and everything, I'll tell you also, switch up. So complete switch up we're going to call it, and it's going to become like a complete rookie.
You heard it here first.
Of the hybrid world. To, you know me, I'm going to try and get up there with the top of the guys. So I'm following already the
Are you going to tell us your current 5k time, or are you going to keep it in the bag for
I'll tell you where it started.
Okay.
So I've already took 6 minutes off it, so it started at 30. Wow. It's already below 24
You
now.
were unfit, weren't you?
Yeah, really unfit. I was carrying body.
Yeah.
Okay,
so my business partner, Yasser at GrowFactor, I'm not sure if you've met him or not. You will meet him, because when we do clients' tax reviews every year, he's head of tax, so you'll meet him. He plays hockey for England, he's played it all throughout, but he's a keen runner. I won't spoil the surprise, but when you speak to him on a Zoom call, ask him what his 5k time is, and then that'll give you a benchmark to get to. And when you look at him, he looks like he's nothing, but when you go out for a run with him, savage.
90 minutes.
Faster.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's fast.
But breaking that 20, like you said about setting goals, if you can break the 20-minute 5k, that's a massive milestone. Yeah, 100%. Okay, and you think that will help your audience and help your clients as well to live a more functional lifestyle?
Yeah, because I'm still going to stick to my roots, bodybuilding, that is my passion, but I'm a firm believer of developing knowledge further. So what I've already done is purchase like a hybrid nutrition course. I'm going to understand, right, how am I going to fuel my body properly to perform from a bodybuilding perspective and a running and an endurance athlete.
Not lose your muscle.
Yeah, because the last thing I want to do is lose muscle, so I've got to make sure that I'm eating right. So that's going to take me to a new coach now. And I'm looking for that person at the minute.
So you can bring clients on, actually, they want to look great, but also maybe they've got kids, maybe they haven't, maybe they just want to feel great. They don't want to walk up. So yesterday I went to watch women's football, come on the Lionesses. I walked up the steps to my seats, which weren't the best seats. I mean, the view was good, but they were quite high. And by the time I got to the top of the steps, I'm really blowing, really blowing. And when I used to do CrossFit, I would have run up those steps. So there's a balance to be had, right? So what can aspiring coaches that are starting out, and lots of people will look up to you, Ben, right? You're like one of the leaders in the field, one of the fastest growing on socials, but a very fast growing business. Like what are 3 things maybe that either aspiring coaches can do, secrets or tips, or mistakes that they should avoid?
I think before you step into any industry, I think your industry is one of the main examples. You've got to perfect your craft. You've got to know what you're doing, and that's what I did in the background for years. Online coaching now is like almost the in thing to do, and I get clients coming to me and they've got in shape and done a photo shoot. All of a sudden they're online coach and they're wondering, oh, I've invested £500 a month in a mentor who's told them how to sell, but they can't actually get clients a result, which is what they're after, so the retention's down. So all they're doing is selling, getting clients, losing them, and it's kind of a vicious circle. So I'd always say perfect your craft, have an ethos in terms of what you value and what your business stands for, and continually develop. I think those are then like key things.
Okay, so learning, continually developing your own skills,
good
have an ethos and standards and values which you share with your team as you bring them on, and make sure that you're delivering, like Tony Robbins calls it, delivering massive value. It sounds a bit big, but
so your retention will be there as well.
Okay, and then you retain your clients because they're getting results and you're measuring their results, right?
Exactly.
So in terms of keeping clients in the long term, if you've brought clients on to achieve a certain physique, how do you transition it after they've reached their goal? Like, how do you turn a short-term client into a long-term client?
So what I do when I onboard clients is I'll set primary goals out, what I think we need to achieve. Along with those primary goals, I also set a skeleton plan, and that skeleton plan will be month to month, but also within that month, week to week. So each check-in, we're like, well, actually this week it was just about understanding the body, how it responds. That was the first 2 weeks. But actually in the first 2 weeks you ate 4 pizzas and drank 3 times. So actually the first 2 weeks avoid, because I've not gathered any data. Of course, data drive decisions, like we've said. So realistically, those 2 weeks avoid, a 2 week behind trend, and just keep always pulling them back to that goal. Okay, we're doing a 12-week photo shoot prep. Before that prep's already done, start planting that seed. Right, after this prep, we're going to have 6 pounds of muscle. This is going to take us 8 months, and we're going to put that skeleton plan. So I think you've always got to be goal driven, like you are and like I am. So
kind of like with business, you set goals for the longer term. What do you want to be, fitness or physique oriented, then bring that right back into shorter sprints, right? Okay, fine, cool.
Always also accept the fact that not everybody's always going to stay on board. When I remember losing my first few clients and I was heartbroken.
You take it personally.
But they just finished their journeys. They've learned enough through the service, which is a compliment because you've educated them enough. And they were just happy to go on their own and do their own thing. And just accept the fact sometimes people want to learn more. So I lost a client this week because he'd been with me 2 years. He's a coach himself and he wanted to go and learn off another coach. That's fair enough. So.
People have reasons and you can't always take it personally. And like with us, I like to have 100% retention. But sometimes you work out 3 to 6 months down the line that you're not as good a fit as you thought you were.
Exactly.
You know, or maybe you're coaching a client and they're not doing their bit as well, and then it can't work both ways.
That's when, I've got rid of a lot of clients as I've grown. Not fitting what I want, repeating yourself, relationships only going to go downhill. Just have that honest conversation and be like, look.
And it's worth doing that earlier in the life, which is why we love you, and Aziz, who's your contact, loves you because you're a great client. You know, we ask you to do things, or we ask you for information, and you're on it.
Takes me a bit longer now once I get That's why my mum's here.
But that's been good. I think one question is, like, or not a question, but a point that I see, lots of coaches get to the point of being stuck at their income level because they refuse to relinquish control in their business and hire other people. You retired your mum, which is awesome. She chooses to help you out with certain things. But we had a call last week where we spoke about, you know, Ben Bray coaching is so successful, therefore, what does the structure of Ben Bray coaching look like in 5 years' time? Here's the staff members that you need to have. Like, you're smart enough to acknowledge that you should be in your genius zone and other people should be doing onboarding of clients, checking in results, requesting the check-in photos, you know, all those little bits of the process that you don't necessarily have to do. And hiring people in, right, that's important for a business. So tell me about your experience at GrowFactor, without me putting any words. I don't know how long we've been working together.
4 or 5 months.
So we're quite early in the journey, and we haven't done like strategic business planning yet, really. We've had more of like a focus on getting your numbers up to date, minimizing your taxes, and sort of establishing those financial goals.
Yeah.
But how's the relationship been, and what kind of value might we have added to you over that time?
It was an eye-opening from my previous accountants who I wouldn't have recognised if I walked past them in the streets, to you have that personal touch. Met you as soon as I kind of started working with you, straight on a call, then in person, we trained together. Aziz is unbelievable, the way she like buys into you and your business, and I think
she really does genuinely care about her clients.
She knows my business inside and out, and I think the back end systems that you've got, so like Zero, for example, understanding. I didn't understand what VAT were. I didn't understand. All right, if you charge a client £200, you actually only get 175, for example.
Yeah, so your financial intelligence is
so now, since then, that's allowed me to increase prices and be more intelligent and actually look at it like, oh, actually my VAT bill is X amount, but I was accommodating for that. Whereas the first time I got my VAT bill, I was like, why am I giving this money away? But it's having that education, that knowledge, but it is overwhelming. I think having a company like GrowFactor there is definitely that cushion if your business is thriving, like I've seen mine. When you are paying this X amount back, you're like, oh, actually, I understand I'm paying that now because this is part of this VAT bill or your actual income tax.
You have more clarity on your numbers.
It's less of a bullet, really. When I first got that, I told you my previous accountants hit me with like a VAT bill. They're not even told me what VAT were. So all of a sudden I get that bill, I'm like, what is this? First clarification. I have business expensing now, I know exactly. I've not got anxiety feeling of, oh, should I be doing this, should I be doing that? I've got the full list of what I can claim versus what I can't. So it's clear and concise and very thorough, as well as that personal touch. I think it goes a long way with people like me.
Yeah, building a relationship, which is like the foundation of your business as well. And it's nice for me to hear, because I've never really asked you that, and we aren't that far in. But I think having financial clarity and setting financial goals is something we've done with Ben, which gives him the ability to know, okay, I'm going here, and then we can help you with like, all right, you're not going to get to there unless you hire this person and this person, or make this move, or make this move. And then you start bringing other people in. So I think it's just caring, and what a lot of other accountants do. Like, you pay a significant amount of money to us for that service, right? It has to deliver value. But what a lot of accountants will do is they just don't charge enough money, or they don't have enough skills, so they don't have the time to support you in that way. Whereas we came in and said, okay, maybe it's 5 or 10 times what you're currently paying. But it'll be worth it.
I've got a property business now, they're ready. That's the next step. I've got coaches where Aziz has said to me, okay, you brought this coach on and this coach on. In 3 months, how many clients do you want them at? Well, I want them at 20 in 3 months each. Okay, this is what this will be financially for you. So that number's there, and I'm driving them. Okay, lads, how many calls have we got this week?
So it's like accountability.
So it's like, right, okay, this gives you your structure and your organisation to build your business. So on the back end of that, I've got Dan involved now, who's on automations, who's now pushing emails out to get them to those numbers by those deadlines, so we on the financial targets.
Which I think is so important. Not even just your business, but you set these goals. And if you're not getting towards them, it's about holding all of your team members accountable. So we both know Dan and we both love him and think he's great, but we still need to hold him accountable. How many emails went out? How many leads were generated? How many calls were booked? And if it's not working, it allows you to kind of loop back and say, well, let's try a different tactic, right? Or a different strategy. It's so important. That's cool for me. And like, we've got so many big things still to come. We haven't done any tax planning with you yet, really. So that'll be a nice thing to do later in the year. And we haven't done your business planning, which I want to do with you in the next kind of week or so. Going to shoot a video on the importance of that at some point as well, with the new vlogging setup that we've both got, so we can share tips on that. As I've only got like one angle that I can shoot from, I think my vlogging will be slightly, because everyone has their best side. The vlogging for you, which is why, like, on camera we'll put a separate filter on Ben and a separate filter on me. It'll be like beautify and unbeautify, so it will level things out a little bit. Just the last question, right, and I'll let you go. Or two actually, 2 real quick ones. Just to be real, like, during the process of entrepreneurialism and running your business, what struggles have you gone through? I don't want it like all to be positive. People need to see that you're a real person and you have struggles as well.
I think quality of life, which will surprise people. So I came from a financial background, working a 9-5 where I did the odd hour overtime, I was salaried really well, but weekends, Friday, that laptop was shut, and if I wanted to go and do whatever I wanted, Saturday, Sunday, that was my time. I can count now on one hand in the last 3 years the amount of days I've got off, and I think even when you're saying you're having time off, your phone's there, you see messages, you're replying.
24 hours a day.
I probably bore people around me in terms of, oh, I'm going to do this next, I'm going to do this, and I just think quality of life takes a massive hit, and I think the reason for that is due to poor time management, but also being that endorsed in your business,
Yeah.
that you can't take that backward step. Whereas now I'm learning to do that. I'm bringing people on like yourself, like Dan, like Finn, Sergio, Alex, who are looking at my business, adding value, whereas I can take that step back. I've got a holiday on the 12th of August. I know I can shut off. I'm going to bring my mum in to make sure clients' payments are going through, everything's on board, and I can, for the first time in 3 years, shut off for the first 7 days. I'm sure I won't. Yeah, I think it is so
it's
hard
a good
building a
test
business.
to see what you can shut off from and what required you to go back in.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to let balls drop.
Yeah.
Because even with clients, they'll understand. If everyone's notified, look, I'm going on holiday, it's the first time I'm doing this process of not doing anything urgent, here's how you deal with it. But if you can do that, I think it's like a massive breakthrough.
Yeah, it is. We'll see. But I think you've got to make sacrifices in life, haven't you, to build anything successful, as I'm sure you have and I have. And the sacrifice over the last 3 years for me has just been like time. But I don't regret that.
Yeah, so I sacrificed friends.
Yeah, that's another good point.
Yeah.
I'm only 27 and I still see my friends going out most weekends, shutting off on that Friday if they're hungover on a Sunday. That's fine, but for me now, I don't really drink much because when I do wake up that next morning, I'm almost like, oh, I've got this and this to do, and I want to be the most productive version of me.
Yeah.
I don't want to be like a second-class Ben.
Yeah, you might have 2 or 3 beers. Like, I can't go to the football without having 3 pints of Guinness. It's just a habit I need to get out of, but it's so powerful. It's like a trigger. However, I enjoy it. But after 2 or 3 drinks, I'll stop because I can feel, okay, this will affect me later in the day or it'll affect me the next day.
Massive, yeah. I agree. I think it is challenging, isn't it? But
yeah, sometimes you'll do it and that's fine. Like, you're young.
Yeah.
I'm older than you, so you don't get hangovers like I get them, right?
Still getting bad.
But I made a decision. I set my business up 11 years ago. And since then, I have not had any time with friends. People don't see this side of it. That's why I wanted to ask you the question. Now I'm starting to make friends with people that I respect and associate with, entrepreneurs like yourself.
Yeah,
like you can have friends who are your clients, you can do things together, you can have crossovers.
Your circle does change. I have noticed that, and as much as you've got your memories, like now my 18-year-old friends to 21, 22, great people, but different circles. Like I'll always meet people for a catch-up now and again, but I agree, I've probably seen my friends. I haven't this year.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's
it's
okay.
a great
like,
point.
One thing Tony Robbins said to me when I was at Business Mastery a few years back was pick 5 people and create an inner circle, and those 5 people should be at the same level or ideally ahead of you.
Yeah.
And actively try and spend time with them each month or each quarter or whatever and just get everyone together.
Yeah.
And then you end up becoming the people that you spend the most time with, right? It just rubs off on you. It's like osmosis, I think they call it. You hang around, I hang around with you, I learn things from you, you learn things from me. It's just being around those people.
I think that's a great point.
This is the real last question now, I promise.
Yeah.
We know that as an online coach, right now, you're riding the wave because you're delivering great work, and our platforms mainly for generating leads are online.
Yeah.
What do you do to reduce risk around in the longer term? Maybe some of those platforms change their algorithm and your leads dry up overnight, or something happens. You have to manage risk and not have all of your income and eggs in one basket. So what do you do to mitigate that?
Yeah, so I see a lot of coaches just choosing one avenue of social media, and I think you see from Instagram at the minute it's changing.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, who you follow, you don't even follow them, they're coming up on your timeline. That's had a negative impact. So what I've done is moved a lot of my audience from Instagram, where I've got 100k, now onto YouTube where I've got 10k, now onto TikTok where I've got 5k. Still pushing Facebook as well because I think it's good for ads. And then just making sure that I move with time. I think everybody needs to move with time, but also making sure that I appreciate online coaching isn't forever. Yeah. So I'm 27 now, probably in 10 years a younger model will come along and replace me. So we recently set up a property business, didn't we, which I've already got talks with now to purchase a couple of apartments over the next 2 to 3 months, and just really kind of secure my future, really.
Yeah, so I think what you've done that's really smart is you've looked at your business financial plan that we had. We've worked directly with your financial advisor and said, well, your business is generating this much money. Let's take some of that, because Ben's not materialistic. He's smart. He's investing his money rather than spending it on material items. Like, it's nice to have some nice things, but you're taking that money, investing it in property, and then your advisor might say, put this into shares, put this into stocks, put this into something else according to you, because you're young. You can afford to also take some risks.
Which I have done.
So it's cool. It's just diversifying income. And if you look, there's a really good article about basically having different revenue streams. I can't remember the name of the guy that wrote it at the moment, but I'll put the link in the description. Different income streams to mitigate the risk of one of them falling over, but also over time, it just reduces your stress level, and you'll find that maybe one makes you more money. Just last example, I sit next to, when I go to Business Mastery, the guy that started Global Accounting Advisors. He's actually Australian. He's the one that got me involved with Tony Robbins. He sat next to me and said, listen, my accounting firm went from 5 million to 20 million in 3 years. And I'm thinking, this guy's like rolling in it. He goes, but this year I'll make about $35 million from property. Because at one event, right, a Russian guy came up to him and said, do you want me to, they were having dinner, do you want me to explain your property strategy? He explained it on the back of a napkin. He's now used that strategy to invest moving forward with other people's money. And he's making more money. The point is, he's making more money from what would have been just a side income than his actual main income, which is his accounting firm, from developing property. So you never know what's going to happen. You need to open up these avenues. Cool.
Wrap it up, outro?
Yeah, okay, cool. So, guys, we have sat down and had an amazing in-depth chat with Ben. We've talked about his business journey. He's given us 3, 4, 5 massive, insightful bits of advice if you're an aspiring coach. And we've got to know him a bit more. I've learnt some stuff about you today as well, which I didn't know before. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it's been entertaining and informative. Please like and subscribe this video because it really helps the channel out, and we'll see you in the next one.